This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
It's Monday night, it's RaceSpotTV. We are live once again for round number 10 back at the Glen. It's Monday night Skippys, but I felt it was easier to say round number 10 back at the Glen, Linus, because it's fun. Like Watkins Glen, which is where we are tonight for Monday night Skippys. Rachel Whiteford and Linus Brostrom joining you as always, as the action picks up on a very slippery Watkins Glen here, Linus. We could postulate about it being to do with the weather. It's 75 degrees Fahrenheit with a track temperature of 90. Humidity is high for Watkins Glen, 75%. Winds 4 miles an hour, not a huge issue, but something is making this track like a skating rink.
Yeah, it's been that way all season long for these cars. Everybody just keeps crashing in qualifying, and we're seeing it again here today. I think maybe they're running very high tire pressures combined with the low grip in the track, so obviously that will not be optimal in case of grip, but still some really fast times, and our top championship contenders are almost in the top 3 positions again here today, so we're in for yet another cracking race, I think.
Absolutely are. Well, we'll take a look at those points really quickly to start things out tonight, because points mean prizes. Right now, Claire Hughes out front right now from 9 races counted. 3 wins this season. Impressive. 9 in the top 5. Every race he's been in the top 5. 304 points. Second place, it was close to last time, but Anthony Cat, 0 wins this season. Still, somehow, second place with 284. Why? Oh, every race he's finished in the top 10, and 8 out of those 9 have been in the top 5. Behind them, it's Simon Edwards, who's coming in quickly behind. Less than 20 points behind Cat, Linus. He's there on 267. Top 5 is as well Lee Anderson and Matt Cox, who are much, much further adrift in terms of points. It's really the story of those top 3. There are races left. Edwards could catch up if things go dramatically wrong, but right now, Hughes appears to be making the final sprint for it. Can Edwards catch Cat?
Well, the difference from first to third is 37 points, and you get 40 for a win, so one incident for using Cat and Edwards could be in the top, and the difference between Cat and Edwards only 17, like you said. That's not a lot at all either, so Cat can both go up to first and down to third within like a race, so anything can still happen. It's a very open championship, and with 3 races to go, there is a lot of points to play for, and technically Lee Anderson can still be the champion.
Absolutely possible, numerically, and that's what we like about Skippys. Everything is somewhat variable. And we heard that Edwards was 3rd in Sunday Night Skippys, of course, there with the 2K World Cup, so that's a huge one for them. Right now, he's on pole here tonight, and with that, we're going to go through your qualifying results. Simon Edwards, as we just mentioned, on pole tonight, 1 minute 25.594. Clay Hughes, 2nd place with Daniel Tufts in 3rd. Anthony Cat in 4th with Clark Williams, Anthony PM Jones, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, Lee Anderson, Matt Cox, and Ewan Patterson is your top 10. Behind them, Stefan Nobis, Peter Cowan, Neil Jackson, Dave Martin. 15th place, Jake Riddington with James Ruth Jones, Dave Kirkman, Andrew Leach, Christopher Kelsey, and Tim Adcock in 20th. Rest of those positions on your screen as Linus. Cars take to the grid. We are getting ready to go. 17 laps of racing around 8 corners of Watkins Glen, the Cup layout.
Yeah, it's a very, very fast layout. There is the chicane is probably, or the bus stop or inner loop or whatever you want to call it, is probably one of the slowest parts on the track, and you still go very, very fast through there. Not an optimal place to make a pass, but obviously that can still happen if you get a run down the long straightaway, so a lot of things can happen today, a lot of places to pass and some very high speeds, so it's going to be really interesting to see what everybody can do, and the dive down into turn 1 is always interesting here on the first lap.
Certainly is. Cars get themselves lined up now and ready to rock for today's event. It's going to be a tricky one. We've seen how slippery it was in practice. The engines will rev now on the grid. Green light is on and we're going here. Watkins, Glen, big start. Simon Edwards, Clay Hughes, Daniel Tufts, their cat back and forth of this start. But the Glen's first corner is a big one, Lena. It's that big downhill right turn. It's a massive concertina spot as we'll keep our eyes throughout the field on this one here. Everyone making it through, no real problems so far, but we've seen what these things can be like when you get up to speed. Instead of Dave Kirkman there, Martin, Ridlington, Ruth Jones, 3 wide already, heading up the S's here. That's a tricky position to be in. There's a little bit of contact there nearly as they get through with no major trouble in the end. Up at the sharp end, Edwards leads the way. Clay Hughes already attacking early. Big move there on the outside.
Here he comes, and behind him Cat has already made it up to third as well, but Hughes goes around Edwards on the outside. He's actually going to clear him way before the braking zone, so Hughes going straight up into the lead on the first lap down the straightaway, and everybody seems to have made it through those first few turns without any issues whatsoever, which is surprising considering how tight that uphill section is. As we have a car going around way at the back, that's Neil McGinty, but he's going to keep on going.
Absolutely, we're keeping an eye on that one. Clay Hughes leading the way now, heading through turn 6 here. As we come to the end of that first lap, your blinking is gone here at Watkins Glen. Simon Edwards, your pole sitter, didn't even lead the first lap. Gone after 3 corners is behind them now. That running order is a lot akin to the points and their potential, because here comes Cat, who pops out for a bit of clean air on the inside of the front straight, as does Simon Edwards here. Both dive back in line for turn 1 now, and we'll see if that position changes hands yet again. Linus heading up the S's.
It probably will. That straightaway is so long, and you can see just how wide they go here as well on the exit of turn number 1. That's one track where you can use all of the runoffs if you want, and coming up the hill now he's going to have huge draft from Lee Hughes, and Cat is going to follow right behind him, so he will close in on him here already coming up the S's, and going onto the straight is already underneath the rear wing of Lee Hughes. He's going to move out and he's just going to fly right on past him, and maybe these 3 will keep doing what they've always done this season, just work together to pull away. But Tufts is right there. Here comes Williams as well, trying to, or getting past Anthony Jones for 5th, so a massive group of cars here in the top pack, and passes being made all the way through. I think that's about 12 cars currently in the lead pack.
Certainly is a huge lead group here of this race. Lap number 2 well underway if you've missed it so far. It is typical Watkins Glen, fast, quick action around this very short layout here. As we said, 8 corners. It's just about 2.5 miles, so very, very quick. And we had 4 drivers there within 0.3 of a second. That is incredibly fast. Incredibly fast, Linus. These guys are absolutely going for it. And of course, we are on the bus stop layout, which is definitely making things get a bit more interesting here. Edwards does lead into turn 1 this time by Hughes 2nd, Cat 3rd. Is Edwards going to try his best here to try and make those points and close that gap down? We have got 2 drop weeks, of course, let's not forget. We're on round number 10. So we're into that territory now where things could really start to take an impact.
Yeah, Edwards has 2 terrible results to drop as well, so I think he's a lot closer to Lee Hughes than we think in the championship, and now in this race is in the lead. But here comes Lee Hughes, and we have a massive crash at the back. That is in turn number 1. That's 3-4 cars out of the race.
Looking at it now, we've got Maltby definitely involved in that one. We'll take a look at exactly what happened, but Simon Maltby was right at the back of that one as it happened, and we'll take you through it now with a quick replay of what was going down there. But it all happened coming out of turn number 1 there, Linus, as Maltby comes down. Cars ahead of him get into a bit of a bumpy situation there. It's the 33 and the 25. Morris and Smith, Paul Smith, of course, of RaceSpot there. One of them ends up sideways. 33 rejoins. Paul Smith rejoins and hits Maltby. Round everything goes in a huge cacophony of braking Skippys there. Track was blocked for a moment as everything went horribly sideways, and oh man, that's like 4 or 5 cars involved. That's huge.
Yeah, that's a lot of cars out of the race, and not a very good rejoin by Paul Smith, but maybe he thought he was going to be given the line, which he obviously wasn't. So that's one of the things that'll happen coming in there when you run that wide off the track. When you come back, you have to make sure that the track is clear, and that time it wasn't. So 4, 5, 6 cars out of the race there at once, so that's very unfortunate for everybody involved.
Massive moment.
Front though, Leus is still leading from Edwards, and Cat goes really wide. Tufts gets close to him, but he's not going to be able to make a move, so still going single file. But here comes Edwards with the massive draft again.
Absolutely does there. As you see, Hughes a sitting duck here in the run down towards the bus stop. As through will come not only Edwards, but Cat's going to take a look as well. Here comes Clark Williams too. He wants to look at this thing, but only so far. Edwards will go past, not anybody else. The draft area is smaller than we've seen in the past. Last couple of years, Linus, we've seen this be a huge opportunity for 3 or 4 drivers to draft past the lead, but now we're definitely down to the one has a chance to get through here as we come through the carousel. No major issues so far in terms of traction through these higher pressure parts of the circuit, but exit turn 1, that was just a rejoin issue and initial contact. So I think after initial bump, of course, Smith lost concentration after the initial contact, rejoined without thinking, and well, we had that, but we've not seen the same loss of grip we saw in practice. Everyone's dialing it down a notch, perhaps.
Yeah, not taking that many risks this early on. We're still only on lap number 4, going on to lap number 5 now, so still 12 laps to go. A lot of things can happen. Everybody just trying to position themselves the best they can. Edwards obviously back in the lead here. Kaz dropped back slightly, but he's going to come right back up to the back of these guys pretty shortly, so see what they can do. Cat obviously wanting to improve from yesterday when he got a P number 12, obviously also trying to catch his first win of the season, which would help him massively in the championship. At the moment sitting third, but he's going to get a massive run here. See if he can follow Leus past Simon Edwards, see if he's going to have to stay in third.
Absolutely, and of course we did know that, well, Anthony Cat finished 12th on Sunday night Skippys, of course the 2K Cup. Edwards got 3rd, so there's huge potential there for both of those two. And we had 4 drivers, like we said, within 3/10 at the end of that race. That is a very close finish, and it shows the potential for that to happen on this layout because of the lack of corners, realistically. A lot of people together. And we didn't do this at the start of the broadcast, but I'm going to do it for you now. We'll do our 1 second bracket really quickly because 25.59 is our starting point. 26.5 comes in at 5.9, I should say, 19th place. That is very, very close. But it's what we expect of a track with 7 corners, Linus. Everyone's going to be a little bit closer, which makes the racing that little bit more risky. Yeah,
it's a very short track, meaning, and not that many turns either. So there's not as much places to gain or lose time, so it's obviously going to be closer on the times, which it is, and it makes for some close racing as well. And with the massive draft you get on down the straights here, it's very hard to pull away as well, which is why we're still seeing 10 cars in the lead pack, as we have a pass for P number 9 at the very back of this group. That's Cox and Pattinson going side by side, so that's going to drop them all the way back. And here comes Nobis as well, looking up the inside, and he's actually going to take that position away from Pattinson. But he's going to look right back on the inside, so side by side up the hill, and Edwards again for the lead as well.
Edwards certainly back there for the lead. 3 wide, in fact, at the lead. All 3 of them. And Cat and Edwards will come through. Cat will actually take the lead this time, though. Anthony Cat to the very front here as he goes 3 wide up the inside into the bus stop to achieve that there with Hughes, Edwards, and Cat. Absolutely phenomenal move there by the guy who finished 12th on Sunday Night Skippys, as Anthony P.M. Jones wanted a piece of that action too, but couldn't quite get close enough to get the crowbar out, Linus.
Now he's going to have to sit in third for now, right behind Leus. He's going to close in on him here in turn 6, but this is not a very good spot to do anything this early in the race, so maybe he'll try and follow Leus in the draft down the straightaway. But Cat has opened up a slight gap, and pretty sure that's going to disappear pretty quickly now when Edwards gets onto these straightaways behind him again. Still 8 cars now in this lead group after that little battle we had from 9th position on back, but everybody's single file coming down into turn 1.
Things picking up a little bit further back, Linus. What do we have going on?
Number
Dave
16, Dave Martin. There's a big bunch of cars here going all over the place. Martin up on the inside, he's actually going to lose out several positions here as Kels goes by. Jackson's up into 15th, and Kirkman is in there as well. They're going to be 2 by 2 up the hill. Martin moving back ahead of Kelsey. Adcock getting involved next to Kirkman, and James Ruth Jones is coming back there as well. There's a big bunch of cars, but it looks like Martin is actually going to hold on to that 16th position for now. And Adcock is on the inside of Kelsey again. He's got nowhere to go though. He's kind of boxed in, and here comes Martin with a massive draft on Jackson coming down to the inner loop, but Jackson's going to hold on to that P number 15, and looks like they're going to get through. Slight contact there at the back, but nothing major, so they're pretty much going to keep the positions they had a lap ago.
Rob Green is out of the race from what we just heard here. Rob Green down there on pit road. He had a bit of a moment himself. We'll take a look what happened for him. Appears the car just decided to go wide in turn number 1 and lost the back end, was running quite a distance behind everybody else and decided to retire that car. Not sure if he'd had earlier contact in this, which cost him time. Let's take a quick look back at what happened for him, but he definitely was a long way behind the rest of the field there. Might just have been a consistency issue. Yeah, just not quite as fast as everybody else. Decided to retire that vehicle after a couple of laps sitting on his own. Not really racing. It's a position I've been in myself once or twice in a race, and it's not a pleasant one. Simon Edwards, though, back out front here ahead of Cat. Hughes back in third. But look at this conga line. We've not really had that same separation we've seen previously. Jones is there. Tufts, Williams, Vaughan Roberts, and they're starting to go now. As look at this. Cat side by side here with Edwards. Going for the outside, and he gets the position to the bus stop. Edwards and Cat, they start to speak the same language here. He let him through, Linus, to ensure they weren't clogged up and letting the guys behind them jump them.
Yeah, they're just, well, there's nothing really you can do to block down the straightaway either, but they're just doing what they can to go as fast as they can. Difference here is there's draft almost out of every single corner, so they're not able to pull away. The whole group behind them is keeping up, and we saw Anthony Jones in the background there trying to make a move on Liu, but because Liu had the draft from the cars in front, he's just not able to make anything happen there, so he's going to have to settle for fourth for now, and Liu is pretty much going to hold on to that third for as long as he likes until he makes a mistake.
On board there with Peter Cohen. He's sitting a little bit further back right now, but in an interesting position there. P9, Linus.
He's actually dropped back to the back of this pack. He's down into 12th, so have this whole group of cars. He dropped 3 positions on that last lap. That's Nobis in front of him, then Pattinson and Cox leading that group. 2 cars in the top 10, 2 out of it, so this is definitely going to be a race to keep an eye on. The last 2 positions in the top 10. Pattinson trying to set up Cox though, and he's easily going to pass him coming up the hill here onto the straightaway using that same draft we've seen in the lead group. As here he comes, and behind him comes Nobis as well. He's going to look to make it 3 wide. He tried, but he didn't really find a gap, so Pattinson is going to clear Cox into the bus stop inner loop chicane thingy and take over P number 9. As Cox goes a little bit wide, and here comes Nobis into P number 10.
That's the best description I've had. The inner loop all thing. Yeah, we've got penalty there for Matt Cox, I believe. It's cost him with how he ran across that corner. That's going to really make him have to slow down here somewhere and try and give that back.
Yeah, I think if you do it right, you can serve that slowdown in the carousel, depending on how much time you gain from cutting. But obviously he's not slowing down much, so maybe he got away with that one.
It's possible, but I'd be surprised if he did there, as he's maybe hoping to serve at some of these corners, but doesn't appear to be. Look ahead though of these guys. Look at this knot we've got behind the leader. Hughes there side by side with Cat, but also right behind them we had Williams and Anderson side by side for a moment. There was this huge pack of cars. There's, oh, look at this now. Jones and Tuff's going to get involved here as well, as Hughes side by side with Cat yet again. Tuff's looking for a way through.
He is. He's up the inside. Cat's going to have the inside for the next corner though. See if Tufts can stay up there or not. He's not going to be able to stay next to Cat for now, but he's going to have the draft from Liu, so he's going to get a massive run on Cat, who's got no draft whatsoever. Here comes Anthony PM Jones as well in 5th, going to try and do something, but he can't find a gap, and that time Edwards had slight draft from a lap car, so Liu's not going to be able to get into the lead, but Tufts moves up into 3rd place into the bus stop, so Anthony Cat dropping down to 4th. That's not what he wants now with about 7.5 laps to go.
That's 8 drivers there we have in the lead pack, making this one of our tightest races we've had so far this season, as it's going to be still Sam Edwards leading by a small margin over Claire Hughes, with Anthony Cat and Daniel Tufts there just behind them. It's Vaughan Roberts, Anthony Jones, Clark Williams, Lee Anderson. Ewan Patterson is not in that group. I thought he was. He's just leading that second group. We're involved in it there with Stefan Nobis, Matt Cox, and Peter Cowan bringing up the rear of that group there in 12th place. The only real separation we've seen in that front grouping, but Now we're on lap 11, Linus. 6 to go. This one's winding down faster than we thought.
It really is, and these laps are so short. A race here flies by, but in this series with the short races it goes by even quicker. And still Edwards in the lead. Used to gonna try and get the draft up here. We've seen Lee Anderson as well. He's back in 8th. He's usually keeping up with the lead group, which he is again today, but he's usually in the top 5. So bit of a disappointment for him, I would guess, this far in this race. It's far from over, so anything can still happen. Here comes Leah Hughes outside of Edwards. This Tough's going to try and get a run. He's not. Here comes Cat though, and it's going to be 3 wide. Cat up behind Hughes. He's going to have to back out though, so that's Leah Hughes into lead, and Tufts is going to... No, he's out! Contact between Cat and Tufts is in the barrier. Wow.
Oh, wow. We'll show a quick replay of what happened there, but here you go. Coming into the bus stop, first corner, side by side there. And I'm struggling to work out who to blame for that one, Linus, because I think Cat could have taken a... Cat, I think, took the shallowest line he could. I think that's on Tufts there, actually, because Cat took the shallowest line possible while still holding his line. He kept the room, but Tufts seemed to come back on him and, well, bumps himself off the track. Unfortunate there for Daniel Tufts.
Yeah, I think Tufts expected a bit more room than he had, but still... Tufts not usually racing with these guys, so maybe he wasn't expecting Cat to stick it in there, which he did, and that's very unfortunate for Tufts. Thankfully for Cat though, he's able to keep on going, still in P3, as we also saw Simon Edwards actually pass Leah Hughes going into turn number 6, which is not something we're used to, but it shows that the draft is everywhere. As we're on board now with Leah Hughes coming up the S's and onto that straightaway, you can see he's looking for a gap already, as he's already sucked up to the back of Edwards. Going to use that draft, and he's just going to sail on by him here. He's side by side with him very early here on the straight. Cat is way behind, but he's going to close right up to him as well, as there's now only 7 cars in this lead group. Edwards brakes early to give Leah Hughes that position, and another pass for the race lead.
I think staying very active at this phase of the race here. Everyone trying to get their exact opportunity in this one to make something happen, but there's still plenty of time here. This thing could definitely change, Linus. And I gotta think Cat's still looking potentially interesting. He's been sitting back quietly. Could he be the dark horse in his trio, waiting for the other two to make a mistake?
Well, he's closing that gap right back up, and he's now on the back of Edwards again, so he's going to do everything he can. But don't forget Anthony Jones right behind him, and then Nicholas Von Roberts as well. Clark Williams and Lee Anderson also hoping to get something out of this, so one little mistake from Cat and somebody's going to pounce straight away. So it's anyone's race still.
Did you just pull on me? Did you say the Cat would pounce? That's
Maybe.
the sort of joke I would make, and I am honestly impressed with you, Linus. You've learned well, Padawan.
That was unintentional.
I'm going to call it intentional, okay? Just give me my moment here. You've learned well. As Simon Edwards now chasing Claire Hughes up the hill. Anthony Cat in third place there, with behind them, that's going to be Anthony Jones waiting in the wings here to have an opportunity on lap 13. It's going to be 2 wide, 2 deep in just a second's time there. Here we go. Anthony Jones could be an opportunity to take the lead. He looks for the inside. Going to be no room or time left to keep that working, but he bumps himself up to third place there ahead of Anthony Cat, and all sideways goes Vaughan Roberts.
Slight contact, it looked like, between Williams and Roberts. I don't know if it was, but they were able to hold on to that. Roberts drops down to 7th though after that little sideways moment, and Clark Williams is back up into 5th now. We're not seeing that much of him up in the top 5 this season, I don't think, so it's nice to see him back up here. Anderson promoted up to 6th. That spread this field out slightly as well, but Edwards in the lead now. Leah Hughes has got a new driver behind him, Anthony Jones, and what can he do? Is he going to move up into 2nd by the beginning of lap number 14? He can definitely be one to keep an eye on, because he's got absolutely nothing to lose compared to these other 3.
Yeah, he certainly does not, and that'll be very interesting to keep an eye on exactly how it plays forwards. But as they keep racing now, the sky's getting a little darker actually, Linus, from what I'm seeing here as they've headed into 1 this time by. This might change the tone of this race entirely, as it appears the temperature's actually got up slightly. Track temperature's definitely warmed up here, but humidity's dropping and the clouds have come in, so this is going to be a different tone to the last few laps. Yeah,
the handling of the cars is definitely going to change, and we see Hughes now getting that same draft again. Let's see what will Jones do. He's going to move to the inside. He's going to make it 3 wide. Edwards does not want to see this. Neither does Leah Hughes. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It's actually Jones. He's going to get that lead from Leah Hughes, and Anthony PM Jones is in the lead. Edwards gets back past Lee Hughes though. Wow, that was an aggressive move from Jones, but it paid off, definitely.
Where did that come from? Anthony PM Jones out front here. A driver we've not seen him under their Skippys before. Now leads the way here. This is absolutely huge. I'm excited to see what they do with this, but right now there's going to be a lot of people after this guy.
It is. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hold on to this. He's not one to normally be up front. He's had a couple of decent finishes, but never this far up as Edwards is trying to get the run. We can see Lee Hughes moving out of line. Edwards does the same. Maybe they're trying to just break the draft slightly to get it up the hill instead of getting too close into turn number 1. Everybody behind waiting patiently though, knowing that a move here will just cost them a ton of time. Jones goes really wide, or almost too wide. He's going to have to cut way back onto the track, and that's going to slow him down all the way up this hill, and Edwards is going to have a massive run.
He really is.
Hughes as well. Oh, nearly contact.
Hughes is working on it now as they come down the back straight. So does Edwards. And so does Pat. So does everybody else. This one is definitely building up here. Into the bus stop they'll come. And we have got 2 people there past PM Jones. It's going to be Simon Edwards there. Clear Hughes past, as well as the gap now forming here with Pat. A little bit further back here, Linus, actually. He's dropped right back in front of the likes of Williams and Anderson. But it seems to be that the run to pass at the right time has been Simon Edwards here.
Yeah.
Although is the gap going to be making him more vulnerable?
Well, I don't know. Lee Hughes is definitely going to close right up onto him, though, on that straightaway next time. Clark Williams made a slight move on Cat, but had to back out, so that's why they dropped back. PM Jones still back in third now. We've seen what he can do coming down the straightaway. He's not afraid to make it 3 wide, so expect to see that once again if Lee Hughes can get the proper draft on Edwards. See what he can do. Edwards has about a 4/10 of a second gap at the line that time. That means nothing, though, because coming up this hill, that is just gonna disintegrate in no time. See who can get the best run here coming out of turn 1, coming up the hill. Lee Hughes is starting to close in now. He's actually pulling a slight gap to Jones. And at the back of this pack, Vaughan Roberts is struggling to keep up now. So it's a 6-horse race coming here now with 1.5 laps to go. Here comes Lee Hughes to the outside. Edwards is blocking that inside to make sure Jones doesn't move in there. He's going to go behind Hughes though. He's not going to make a move for the lead, but he's going to make a move for second. He drops out early. Edwards is going to keep that position, but Lee Hughes up into the lead.
Certainly is there as he keeps it moving here late in this game, as right now lap 16, Lee Hughes ahead of Simon Edwards. Anti-PM Jones in third, Cat gaining back up in 4th place now with Williams right behind him. This one is definitely becoming a bit more of a exciting tone here as the guys absolutely kicking this thing into high gear. A little bit further back, we've got some pack racing back here with Hobbs in 19th, along with Kirkman there and Kelsey. And I think it's also going to be Tony Stack in that group just ahead of them. James Ruth Jones there with Dave Martin and Neil Jackson running in 15th and 16th place there. All of them right in a little pack here, Linus. Cox and Ridlington running together. We've also got the big second pack there with Nobis, Cohen, Patterson, and I believe Vaughan Roberts leading the, well, tail gunner right now, I should say, for that lead pack of 7 cars who are snaking through turn 1 there onto 17. This is it, the last lap here. This will be the deciding run up the hill. Clear Hughes is in the danger zone. He is sitting in front as they come up now. This will be the big slingshot for the guys behind him here. Will they have this opportunity to make this one? Look at everyone lined up there. They're all queuing, ready to go. Hughes has to absolutely feel sunken as everyone goes for it. Oh, sideways from Williams there as it's a red arrows formation here into the bus stop as everyone wants to go through it. Oh! Contact there, Clark Williams and anti-Cat. Clark Williams gets through somehow. Can he hold it in line? No, he'll get a slowdown there. That is an absolute guaranteed slowdown for Clark Williams. I've got to be sure it is. He has 4 wheels on the grass. As right now, it is Simon Edwards who looks to be in the catbird seat to take this thing home as he is out front here. And Cat being back in 4th will definitely hurt his points opportunities. Absolutely.
Here comes
PM Jones looks to really upset things here with Hughes, but he can't get it done in time. Edwards is loving this. He has a clean shot home, and Simon Edwards looks to be about to bring it home in Monday Night Skippies. He's got 3 wins. Make that 4.
Wow.
Big one there for Simon Edwards. Brings it home here today at Watkins Glen with the perfect timing to make this opportunity a realistic thing for him and to help him massively in these points. We said it was mathematical, but now, like you said, Hughes, for example, Linus, has had basically no bad races. He's got 9 top 5s.
Yeah,
Make that 10.
Has,
Edwards has some pretty terrible results. Because if we look at Edwards' position, he's only got 7 top 5s and 7 top 10s. So he's got 2 non-top 10 results there.
Yeah, that's
and now he's got another win.
Help him. So we're gonna have to count on that for next week to know exactly how the points are standing with the 2 drop weeks going into the last 2 rounds, knowing more what's up with that. But I think Lee Hughes might still have the lead in the championship, though Edwards definitely closed in a lot with today's race, and Anthony Catt finishing 5th is definitely gonna hurt him in the championship. So strong finish there from Clark Williams to manage to get by Anthony Catt in the last couple of corners.
Yeah, he certainly did. What a fantastic result that we saw there at the end with this one. An absolutely impressive conclusion to this race. We'll go through your post-race results now. Simon Edwards, as we mentioned, with Claire Hughes in 2nd place. Anthony P.M. Jones in 3rd there in what I believe is his first race. 4th place, Clark Williams with Anthony Catt in 5th place. Behind them, it is Lee Anderson, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, Stefan Nobis, Peter Cowan and Matt Cox. Filling out your top 20s, Jake Riddlington, Andrew Leach, Neil Jackson, Dave Martin. Oh, I got that one backwards. James Ruth Jones, Ewan Patterson, Jack Hobbs, Dave Kirkman, Christopher Kelsey, and Tony Stack. That's the results on your screen as we've had a very busy one here today. And hopefully we're going to get a chance to chat to some of these guys. Love to talk to Simon after this one because that was a frantic race, Linus.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing, and I thought it was going to be a bit closer at the line, but Simon Edwards did, got a really good run through the bus stop and managed to open up enough of a gap to Lee Hughes, and then Anthony Jones trying to make a move on Lee Hughes in turn 6 obviously helped Edwards get that slight of a gap into the last corner, and it was game over from then on. But still an amazing race, and Clark Williams able to get that 4th position through the bus stop on the last lap as well. After a really amazing move. So unfortunate for Catt, but still that's gonna happen at some points through the season that you don't have a very good race. Though he still finished 5th, but that's not good enough when your championship contenders are 1st and 2nd.
You're absolutely right. Never gonna be good enough in those sort of situations. But honestly, it's a testament to these guys. They managed to make that clean towards the end there, because this is one of those situations where it could just be absolutely frantic.
Yeah, it was really, really close, but they're all experienced by now, these guys, so they just gave each other just enough room to not make any contact. Well, they had slight contact, but enough to not crash, and it's just great to see how good they've all got over the last few years and what they're able to do. Yeah,
it certainly is there as... What a fantastic race we just saw tonight, and this definitely shakes up our points heading into our 2 final rounds, something I know I'm excited to see. But Linus, I think we might actually call it. I don't think anyone's going to come and join us today. Sad face. Thank you for joining us, folks. We're going to see you again next week for round number 11. This one is hotting up, and we hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.